All right. Welcome to Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium.
Damn it, you took my thing! Turned web show.
Turned ICTV show.
Turned blog.
Where you can hear all the latest in television and entertainment news with two hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and the other one is...
Mike Ladue. I was gonna say that I'm the Molly Mahoney to your Mr. Edward Magorium Wonder Emporium owner, but you took it.
I gotta keep you on the edge of your seat, Mike, just like how these episodes of Breaking Bad have been doing.
Oh my god, I don't even have time for, bowling right now. We have so much to get to.
Yeah,
but yes, it's been amazing.
But... all joking aside, this Mr. Magorium thing is going to come up, so that's the little hook to this podcast. In the second to last podcast episode, we're going to do a Breaking Bad because is the second to last episode of Breaking Bad ever.
Stop. Actually, the Breaking Bad marathon just started where I am on this side. AMC is running all the episodes back to back, 61 episodes before the finale, and part of me just wants to not do anything for the next 4 days and just watch Breaking Bad.
I just ordered, I upgraded the cable because I'm like, where am I going to watch Breaking Bad this Sunday? And I was thinking about it for the last couple days to upgrade. I'm like, this is the perfect excuse to upgrade the cable. So now I have somewhere to actually watch it somewhat live. I'll watch it live on the West Coast, so no spoilers, anyone. But
I will not spoil you, don't worry.
All right, so here we go. We got Granite State, which I think last week both of us confused the title of this episode as Granite Slate.
I'm still confused. This is the first I've heard that. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an idiot.
I'm pretty sure because I read somewhere it was called Granite State because obviously they go to New Hampshire, which I guess their nickname is the Granite State.
Oh,
but
okay.
I actually like our title and our reasoning behind it better because this week we actually got to meet Saul's eraser guy, and I think he gave Walter, as best he could, a new slate, a new start, if you will. But we finally got to meet him, and we see the red van come up to his vacuum shop. But fake out, it's not Walt right there, it's Saul. Saul's getting a new identity first because Walt is already there. Now, we finally get to meet this guy, Ed, that does all this erasing, and played by Robert Forster. Now, what did you think of, is this who you envisioned, Mike, as the eraser?
I think I told you a few weeks ago that I envisioned David Cross to have the whole Mr. Show reunion with Bob Odenkirk. I thought this guy was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never really seen a lot of his stuff before, but for someone that they introduced so late in the game with 2 episodes left, I thought he did a real perfect job. He seems like a veteran actor. He seemed a total pro, and guest acting at the Emmys good enough. And I'm not going to get into the Emmys because, aside from Breaking Bad, woohoo, winning, and Anna Gunn, woohoo, winning, there were a lot of missteps. But Robert Forster was a force to be reckoned with in this episode that had so many other things going for it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm glad we saw him. Supposedly, the writer said when they've been talking about this character for so long, they're like, they've been using Robert Forster as their name for him. Just we need a Robert Forster type for this role, and they actually got him for the thing. I was excited to see him. I've always in the back of my mind, I kind of wished we kept him as a Bob Sacamano from Seinfeld, where we never see him, but maybe we see one of his associates, the next in command, and that could have been Robert Forster, but
I think
what do I know?
Because he was so integral to the plot and into Walt's loneliness, and there was just so much exposition they had to get through. I think the episode really had a lot of talking that wasn't exciting talking, and after Ozymandias, we needed more excitement. I think that's the only reason the episode kind of faltered a little bit. I think it was a great episode, as a penultimate that set up a lot. It was definitely a
setup.
Things around, right?
Yeah.
But I thought it was handled really well.
All right, so Saul's getting his new identity. He gets to bunk with Walter White, who's already been there. It's going to take a while for Ed to erase this guy. Now, Saul offers up some advice. It's time to face the music. How much time do you actually have left? And Walter does one of his, it's over when I say it's over, but he doesn't even get to finish. He starts coughing. The cancer is just really getting to him now. And Saul's like, you know what? It is actually over. And he gets to leave before he gets cornered again. Now, is this the last we're going to see of Saul, Mike? I mean, is this it for Saul Goodman on Breaking Bad?
I think so. Maybe we'll get to see a little flash of him somewhere. Maybe a billboard or a billboard or something. But I think it looks like, I mean, he left town, right? He's done.
Yeah.
And I can't see any
He's
reason why he would come back. That seems like the end of Saul, and that's really, you know, that's almost as hard as Hank leaving. You know,
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely.
Saul leaving.
Now, so he's going, is he maybe going off to Nebraska to start a Cinnabon shop. Why isn't he doing a laser tag store? I think that would have been a better spin-off. This Better Call Saul. I would have loved to see Bob Odenkirk running a Cinnabon or like a laser tag center in Nebraska. What do you think of that, Mike?
That would be a show. That would be on TV on
But
AMC.
but what about what are your thoughts on the real spin-off though? Better Call Saul, real quick. Are you excited for this? Are you hesitant? What are you feeling about it?
I'm definitely hesitant. I
Yep.
think we have something that's so great that could potentially be one of the greatest shows in the history of television, and we're already trying to milk it for more money. And I feel like that shouldn't be what we're doing. I mean, look at Bob Odenkirk, look at Vince Gilligan, and everything that's associated with this. It could be awesome,
Yeah.
but doesn't mean it will be, and it's going to take a lot of work to get it to be as high a level as this.
Tread lightly. That's all I'm gonna say. 'Cause
Absolutely.
they got a lot of work ahead of them. I mean, I'll be excited for it, but I'm just worried. That's all. That's all. All
Unless
right.
if they hired David Cross as his like co-lawyer, maybe that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Cross and Odenkirk and Associates or something. I would
like
watch
it.
that.
I would watch that too.
All right, but actually, we had the callback to "It's over when I say it's over." We had another callback all the way to the pilot episode. Skylar is facing the legal team of the DEA, and the ears are ringing just like how Walt found out about his cancer. She's in pretty big trouble unless she finds Walt. And while she is having a hard time finding Walt, Todd is having no problem finding her and sneaking into the house, to kind of threaten her that if she spills anything about Lydia to the DEA, Holly and Flynn may get it. What do you think about this whole scene, Mike? Do you think now is Skylar ever going to spill about Lydia?
I don't know. I mean, she could. I mean, that scene itself really, really took me off guard. I
Yeah,
didn't expect
definitely.
anything to happen, and when he was there with the babies, all those people, it just seemed too real. Because with this late in the game, how much more does Skylar really have to contribute to the plot? I don't know if it's a lot. So yeah, maybe that could be her final retribution is taking down Lydia. Maybe Walt can take down some others, and Skylar can take down Lydia. I don't know.
I don't know. I was worried because I saw that moment happen. I'm like, don't you dare touch that baby.
Right.
Like, let the baby live. Come on, guys. Everyone else can go, but
Not the baby.
not the baby. Speaking of Lydia, though, she meets with Todd, who Lydia's almost out. She's like, I'm almost done with this business. It's getting too much. But then she hears about the 92% quality of the meth that's coming out now with Jesse's help, or I guess Jesse's being forced to help. And she make it. I always find these scenes weird with Lydia. She forces Todd to sit back to back to her. Now, is it just me, or is that the most suspicious thing probably ever?
I think so too. Or in a show like I've been watching Scandal, and where two people, or even on The Americans, I notice it a lot too. Two like spies or two covert people will sit on the same park bench
Yeah.
and pretend like they're not talking to each other, but kind of interact with each other. Like, couldn't it be done any other way? Like maybe like slyly walking near each other, but just like on a park bench, it always seems so suspicious that people like choose that as their meeting place and try and make it look like they're not moving their mouths, but they are. So I think Lydia is taking a page out of the screenwriting cliche book
Yeah.
and doing pretty poorly at it.
How to be inconspicuous for dummies. It's just, she comes in with her sunglasses all the time, and I think I saw one of those Breaking Bad comics online where they force to sit back to back, and then all of a sudden other people try to sit down at the empty seats in front of them. They're like, "Oh, you using this seat? Oh, how you doing? Mind if I get you a cup of coffee?" Like they start flirting with the opposite. I think that would have been a pretty funny scene,
That'd be
almost like
awesome.
the guacamole scene that we got a couple episodes ago.
That was great. I hope that guy comes back. I think
Yeah.
that's like a really like hanging thread that needs to be resolved, the whole guacamole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because they introduced the guacamole and how good it is, but we've never got to see it.
Right. It's Chekhov's guacamole. If you introduce a guacamole in Act 1, it's got to pay off in Act 3.
And maybe in Better Call Saul.
Hopefully.
Hopefully we get to see some of that. But while all this is going on in Albuquerque, thousands of miles away, Walt finally makes it to the Granite State, New Hampshire, in a very isolated cabin. Now, it's so isolated, in fact, that all he has for entertainment is Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium. 2 copies of it, in fact.
Wow.
2 copies. And even the director of that movie, I saw online, jokes that that's 2 more copies than you should own. So
I saw that movie in theaters.
yeah. Is it
don't
that bad?
It was not very good. I don't remember why I saw it in theaters. I saw it with some friends. We like Natalie Portman, and we thought it would be like kind of good. We was like, oh, Natalie Portman, Dustin Hoffman, and it was not good.
Yeah.
I don't really remember much about it at all, except it not being good, and Natalie Portman was in it. So, yeah. So I guess that really shows the desperation that Walt's in to be watching Mr.
Yeah.
Magorium's Wonder Emporium.
I would say, what could possibly be worse to own? You know, if you had
The Tourist.
The Tourist, that's a good one. I was thinking maybe AMC's Low Winter Sun.
Oh,
Ooh, the complete series.
that would be bad.
Yeah.
Or maybe the companion piece that'll be out next season, Talking Low.
Talking low.
The Low Talker.
That'd be awesome. Now, while we're joking about this, and it could just be, just a random cutaway joke, of course people online are reading into this, and I got a conspiracy theory for you, Mike. Are you ready for this?
I embraced.
All right. So, supposedly, Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium, you can fill me in on this because I have not seen it, is a movie that concerns a dying man looking to leave his business to a young protege.
It is. I do remember that now.
All right, so we got that. But the most interesting thing about this whole thing is Dustin Hoffman's quote from the movie, I guess, that references King Lear, and I brought this up. It's a little bit of a long one, but I think it's pretty interesting.
Let's go.
So here we go. I'll do my Dustin Hoffman voice. Not really. Okay.
What is that
Yeah.
possibly?
That's going to be my Rain Man impression, but I figured that'd probably be offensive.
Yeah,
All right.
I wouldn't do that.
So, when King Lear dies in Act 5, do you know what Shakespeare has written? He's written, he dies. That's all, nothing more. No fanfare, no metaphor, no brilliant final words. The culmination of the most influential work of dramatic literature is he dies. It takes Shakespeare a genius to come up with he dies. Yet every time I read those 2 words, I find myself overwhelmed with dysphoria. And I know it's only natural to be sad, but not because of the words he dies, but because of the life we saw prior to those words. I've lived all 5 of my acts, and I'm not asking you to be happy that I must go. I'm only asking that you turn the page, continue reading, and let the next story begin. And if anyone asks what became of me, you relate my life in all of its wonder and end it with a simple and modest, he died.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is technically, I mean, even though there's 6 seasons, at the King Lear dies in Act 5, and it,
This
you
is
know,
season
he doesn't,
5, technically.
yeah, he doesn't want to be, just he dies. It's, remember some of the.
Remember my name. That's the
yeah.
tagline for this season.
So because of the life we saw prior to those words, so there's been a lot of talk that, obviously Walter's going to die. Is there anything to this, Mike? Is this a sly thing that Vince Gilligan is doing, that he's comparing Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium to Breaking Bad?
If this entire show was a veiled reference to Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium,
Genius.
I can't.
Genius.
No, I don't think it's genius. I think that's like a community gag, like that episode where the whole thing was My Dinner with Andre. But if all of Breaking Bad was
Like-
Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium, that would be pretty pathetic.
Instead of the Scarface movie that they watch in beginning of season 5, like, oh, did they all die at the end of this movie? They should have been watching Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium.
Wow.
And
I
just-
hope the last, it's supposed to be a 75-minute finale. I hope it's just like an edited down version of Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium, and there's no more Breaking Bad.
Oh man.
And it was just a whole like trolling of everyone.
Well, yeah, I don't think there's much to this. I mean, especially the last line of this, even though he says it ends with a simple and modest he died. I think Walt, especially at the end of this episode, it's absolutely clear that he's not going to go out with a simple and modest ending. He's going to go out guns a-blazing. Right. So,
but didn't Shakespeare write every character when they die, just he dies? I'm pretty sure that's how, like in the little quotes. I haven't
Are you
read.
questioning Dustin Hoffman's character in Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium, Mike?
Yeah, I'm throwing down with Mr. Magorium. I don't think the Emporium's that wonderful, from what I
Oh,
remember.
how dare you! Oh my God.
Nerve.
All right, let's go back to Albuquerque because I can't take any more of that
Okay.
movie. We're gonna. So what is Jesse doing? Jesse's still trapped by Todd's family, who have now seen Jesse's confession on DVD, and he gets two great gifts from Todd. The first thing, he gets two types of ice cream, so winning right there.
Right.
But most importantly, he gets the paper clip from the picture that was hanging up in the lab last week. He undoes all the locks, manages to escape, but is caught at the last second. He says, "I'm done cooking, so kill me now." You know, he said some other things, but we can't repeat them on the podcast.
Right.
But instead, they have a different idea, Mike, to get him to cook. They visit Andrea and they shoot her in the back of the head. What do you think about that?
I think it was shocking. It's one of
Yeah.
the most shocking scenes I've seen in Breaking Bad. I mean, I of all the people on Breaking Bad that you think have it coming, Andrea's the last. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
with Brock maybe, but I'm sure that's not an accident, and that's why they picked her. You know, they knew anybody can go in this final episode, and it was totally shocking, but it was the move that they had to make for Jesse. Like, they told him if he tried to escape, you know, that's what that picture was, and
Yeah.
he took the risk, and she paid the price for his action,
Yeah,
which is awful.
I was just shocked to see this. At first, I was, even though this sounds bad to hope, but I mean, in the end, it's the better of getting shot. I was almost hoping, just kidnap her and make her just have to watch as Jesse cooks. Like if he doesn't cook, maybe they have to do something to her. It sounds weird to wish that, but it's certainly better than being completely dead. And now I just wonder what's going to happen with Brock. I mean, I'm guessing alone at the house, very much like Huel is still waiting at his safe house. They're just going to be sitting there eating Fruit Loops and waiting.
I guess so.
Wow,
I don't know what's. I mean, I in my finale prediction have an idea for Brock, and so I'll get to that later. But yeah, I think they're really sidelined, and their fate is kind of in everyone else's hands.
I mean, I think the least Walter can do. I mean, Walt's in New Hampshire. He ruined Jesse's life beyond belief with all this things. He could at least give up one of his copies of Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium, send it to Brock instead of sending the money to Lewis. Send a copy of the movie to Brock so he has at least something to watch as he waits for something to happen. I mean, that's the least he can do, I think.
That's literally the least he could do. There is nothing less that man could do. Like, it goes nothing and then sending Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium to Brock.
Okay. Okay. So let's go back to New Hampshire. Now Walt is suffering at this point. Time has passed. He's getting weak. He's so low and down that he's paying someone $10,000 just to stay for one more hour. And I mean, I think this is something AMC should probably do for us to watch Low Winter Sun. Am I right? Zing.
Wait, what?
I had a whole
missed the
build-up.
joke. I missed the
had
joke.
a joke, Mike.
I didn't get it.
Okay. Walt has, he's paying someone $10,000 just to stay for one more hour.
Oh, I got it.
And it's
now.
something AMC should
That's
do.
Really
You know what
funny.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm zoned out. I don't know why. I'm so sorry.
That's okay, Mike. Now, earlier, Ed told him that if you leave this cabin, you will be caught. So Walt was like, okay,
So I'm
challenge
leaving the cabin.
accepted.
Yeah.
Here we go. He puts on his Heisenberg hat and his glasses. He starts walking out. I'm like, maybe that's not the best disguise. Maybe retool, think about something else. But he actually makes it to a local bar. He tricks the high school back home that Flynn is getting a call from Aunt Marie. Now, at first, I thought maybe that was just a nod, by calling him Flynn over the announcements. That Marie always calls him Flynn, instead of Walter Jr. Mm-hmm. But I just couldn't understand why the high school would agree to such nicknames unless
it was legal.
Now it's his real name, and maybe he wants to distance himself from Walter White. Like Skylar's now using Lambert as her last name.
I'm sure that was intentional for, just when people hear Walter White, I'm sure now they think of terror, so now it's probably just something that everyone agreed that that's what he's got to do.
But I still find it strange though. Like he kept his last name though. He got rid of
Yeah,
Walt.
it's
He
weird.
got, but Flynn Lambert. That sounds pretty cool, Mike. I would
That's a
go with
rock
that.
star name.
Gotta rethink about this whole ending, Vince. I don't know if it's as sound as you think if you're not naming your character Flynn Lambert, but all right. But on the phone, he tries to send this package of money to Lewis, which, first, it's actually a pretty good plan to get the money to slip by the cops that are probably watching the house and, any packages, anything that could slip through. But, Walter Jr. flips out, unless there's probably breakfast in that box. Uh, he's not in. He's
He
not
don't
doing
care.
it. He yells that you killed Hank. Like, how dare you? Why are you still alive? And then this is the moment I feel like where Walt is all right. I give up.
And it
Yeah,
was, yeah. He in that moment he had given up. He realized that everything he did was for nothing. He kept saying, "I
yeah.
can't have this have been for nothing," and it literally was.
And he calls the DEA to tell him, I want to talk about the Walter White case. Who's calling? Walter White. And he drops the phone, waiting for the cops to come in the bar until he sees our good friends Elliot and Gretchen Schwartz talking to Charlie Rose about gray matter. And,
Wow,
and right
wow,
here
wow,
is
wow.
just wow. Yeah, exactly. The whole time I was just as transfixed as he was on that television set. He hears that the blue is still out there and that Walter, even though he was a part of the beginning, he really only came up with the name, which, from what we know, like from like
Is
flashbacks
not
and
true.
stuff, is not true.
Right.
So this is now Walter is livid. You could just tell he doesn't say anything, but on the look on his face is just he is no, he's not going to go out as a sweet old man that like he used to be a man of compassion, as Gretchen was saying on the tape. No, he runs out before the cops come. Now, Mike, were you kind of glad that we brought it all back to gray matter? I mean, this is I think the reason in the beginning that like sparked this whole thing. Early in season one, Gray Matter was ready to bail him out and pay for all the money, for his treatment, and he could have been fine. But no, that sparked him into the. He said no to that because of his pride, and now again because of his pride, because he doesn't want the Walter White name to just be like cast aside. He's ready to make it, shine in lights.
Absolutely. I think gray matter is Walt's biggest motivation, more than family, more than
Mm,
cancer, more than money, more than anything. It's because he was a part of something, lost out of it, and it became
yeah.
something without him. Once he was gone, it became something special, and everyone prospered, and he didn't. And there was an episode in season one where they went to the Gretchen and Elliot's house, and everyone was giving away these great gifts to everyone, and he gave ramen noodles because that was all he could afford, and
Yeah.
made a joke out of it, and the guy loved it in a quaint little way, but while it's like, this world he wanted to be a part of, and he made this empire. And I feel like it wasn't enough because it wasn't gray matter. I feel like
Yeah.
that's always been what he needed, and to have those people finally say he wasn't even a part of anything, just the name, like the science itself he didn't have a part of.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate catalyst, the only catalyst they could have had to keep him going. He's given up on family, but as you said, pride is the last thing he kind of has going. And yeah, so that, and then plus the theme song, to
Oh my
have that
God. Yeah.
play during those
I
last
got
moments.
chills. I got
It was like a
chills from.
western, it was
Oh.
like, he puts his hat on, he walks out of the bar, and he's gonna go kill some Nazis, and like,
Yeah.
it was perfect.
Oh my God. Like the whole time I was just, I was getting chills from the theme song playing until, we reveal that he's not there with his just drink there, whatever bill that, the high tip he gave the bartender. Uh, the man who was going to give up, and just, crawl in a hole and just, be the the sad man that he is. No, he's if he's gonna go out, he's going, yeah, guns a blazing.
In his
Everyone will
own
remember
terms.
his name, as this tagline you pointed out is for this season. Remember my name. If yeah, his empire wasn't there, and this whole time he was trying to get just a little bit more money, a little bit more recognition than Gray Matter ever was, just to kind of be like he's holding on to this grudge, and I think yeah, this whole pride is um, who like Heisenberg is. Now, Mike, I got a piece that I read in Time, which I think brings up a really interesting point that we can talk
Okay.
about. Now, is Heisenberg dead? Now, in this piece, they said, according to the writer and the director of the episode, he thinks Heisenberg died when Hank was shot. Now, if Heisenberg, quote unquote, is Walter White's, mojo, his magic ability to get out of situations, and then yes, that probably is true because he's just been trying to pick up the cards that fell after that moment with his family and this and that, just running around. He hasn't really had a solid plan. But if Heisenberg is the part of Walt, like his arrogance, his pride inside of him that makes him want to break bad, um, people think that Heisenberg cannot die without Walt dying as well. It's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde thing. Now, what do you think, Mike? Is this a character you can turn off, light on, light off, or is it more of a dimmer? Is this
Right. Is it a spectrum?
yeah,
I was surprised when I read that quote that he said Heisenberg died because, just seeing the end of this episode, I don't think Heisenberg is gone. With him wearing the hat, with the music
yeah,
playing, it seemed like Heisenberg at its highest potential. I think that was a near fatal blow to Heisenberg.
hmm
And maybe it took him down, but yeah, like I hadn't thought about what you said of Heisenberg being that specific part of him that is getting out of stuff. And now he knows he's not getting out of stuff. He's just,
yeah.
this is a suicide mission. This is, blaze of glory. He's going down. And so in that sense I could see Heisenberg being gone and this just being Walter but evil. So maybe
Mm.
he doesn't need that Heisenberg part of him anymore, but the Walter itself is corrupted.
Yeah, it's
So
almost like they like morphed or something. Like, they transfused together at this point. Now they're like synonymous, and it's just like he took the evil of Heisenberg, not the smarts, and he took the whatever of Walter White, and they just kind of came together to make this madman at this point. Now,
right. Yeah, you take the good, you take the bad, you take it all, and then what do you have?
that's a
Breaking
life.
Bad.
Oh,
Oh, I mean, Breaking
yeah,
Bad's the show we're talking
yeah.
about, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess that's right now. Yeah, for me, yeah, I think this person that we see at the end of the episode. Well, I'm not sure if it is Heisenberg in the fact, like, yeah, I think I am going with the side of I guess the director of the episode was saying like Heisenberg is that kind of like mojo, the ability, the thing that he can like make anything happen, using science and this thing. I feel like this character, whether it's Heisenberg 2.0, if it's Scarface, it's whatever you want to call him. This guy is just like out for blood. Like this is
Right.
like a new side of Walter that is just pure evil and just like he's ready just to make things happen. I almost said a bad word. And I was trying to think of a synonym for it, but I
Well,
just
don't say
couldn't.
that.
I
But
I
I
don't.
agree. Like from the few flash forwards we've seen, him in the diner, him at the house with Carol, it seems like just a different Walt. Like he's kept up that really just dark,
Yeah.
angry. Like it feel like he doesn't need to be that angry, but he's angry and he's out for blood. Yeah, as you said, it's a bloodlust, and so yeah, it looks like this is who he is now.
Yeah, I mean, and that actually leads to our predictions. Now, I know, Mike, you have a probably way more detailed one than I have on this. So I can start with mine. We also got some ones from some of our listeners, some
All
fans
right.
that sent quite a bit in. So we'll go through those, and then we'll probably end it with yours because probably is better than
I don't know if
what.
it's like I like it, but
Yeah.
I've spent like an hour and a half on it. It's I don't know. We'll get there. I want to know what you think. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much than from what I have said already. I think Walt, I mean, as many people think, is gonna take the ricin for himself and go out and like a Scarface kind of just I think he's this is kind of weird to say, kind of sad to say, but like he wants to be remembered. He wants his name to be forever, cemented with like the most, John Dillinger, all the bad people
right,
of all
infamous.
time.
He wants
Yeah.
to be
You
live in
know,
infamy.
and like it's sad because like we've seen this recently. I thought of this when I was like writing, like thinking about this, like in a sick way. He's almost like the those crazy people that like did the Dark Knight shooting in the theater, the Boston Bombers, like all these people that just want their name, their picture, mugshot to be on national television. They want like anytime you think of Dark Knight Rises now, a lot of people go back to Aurora, Colorado. They
Right.
want to be synonymous with this, and I feel like
With
the same
terror.
is with Walter White. When they hear Walter White, he's not the 50-year-old guy that was in his birthday party getting like nudged by Hank. Oh, you need a little excitement in your life. People are going to remember that Walter White is the most
They're gonna drop their groceries in the street.
exactly like oh my it's Lord Voldemort, which actually goes into one of our predictions here. Um, Eric Wysocki said Walt needs to actually. I think he was hopefully kidding with this. I mean, Walt needs to kill Holly because she is the last Horcrux. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think Jesse probably needs to do that to Walt because I think he's the more of the Lord Voldemort character. In order to take down this, Walt, who seems to never be able to die, as he said, like he's the most luckiest guy in the world. He's
That's
the
kind
devil.
of a cool parallel. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Harry. I mean, to nerd out, look at Harry's life in Harry Potter. Everyone he loved died. His parents, Sirius, and everyone he really kind of got close to, aside from, his two best friends, had passed. And so, to see Jesse lose Jane and to lose Andrea, maybe it's kind of the same type of thing. And maybe Walt is our Voldemort. And this is the final battle. Maybe not killing Holly. I don't think that's
Yeah.
necessarily going to happen. Sorry, Eric, but yeah, I mean the themes and the archetypes can kind of ring
Yeah.
true and hold an interesting coincidence and parallel.
And we know what happened to Lord Voldemort and Harry Potter at the end. We know who won that battle. Now,
Unfortunately, I still
yeah.
wish it ended the other way, but that's just me.
yeah, I mean, real quick, like once we go to that like what was it, platform 9 3/4 where it's all like white and
That
like
was dumb.
Yeah,
That was so dumb.
I think at that point like almost should have ended like but whatever. That's
Whatever,
a different
yeah.
thing.
Next week.
Yeah, Vince Gilligan is just taking all of his stuff from Harry Potter and Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium. So, all right, our another prediction is from quote unquote here, Kanye West. Not to be confused with Kanye West or Northwest. This is Kanye West. He says Walt kills the Aryans with his M60, saves Jesse, and they both go to Los Pollos Hermanos and eat ricin beans together. See what he did there? So now,
Good, so-
I think he was probably kidding about this Los Pollos Hermanos thing, but do we see him? That's what we think. Walt's going to come in there, probably kill the Nazis with his machine gun. Is he going to save Jesse though?
Is
Do
he
we
going to
think-
save? Yes and no. Yes, I think yes. That's part of my prediction. I don't think he's going to kill Jesse at
Yeah.
the Aryan place. Is all I'll say for now. But I think he's going to need Jesse. I think that I can't see him killing Jesse after all the blood he spilled. I like Sean Ye's, whatever his name is. I like his prediction, and the idea of them both taking the ricin. What either of them have to live for at this point? Maybe it's, the world is a better place without both of these men.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can see Walt as like saving Jesse almost at this point because Walt has, as we said, nothing. His family doesn't want anything to do with him, and while I don't think Jesse wants anything to do with him now, I feel like Walt still has a little bit in his heart to like, he returned Holly, because she's still a clean slate. And even though Jesse's been through the ringer on this, maybe there's some hope maybe that maybe he can take care of Brock now and maybe he can have another separate life and he can calm down from all this. And there's so much possibility for him. So I would like to think that somewhere deep down in Walter that he can just do this for Jesse, but who knows? Though I don't see them having any nice meal at Los Pollos Hermanos, even if it does involve rice and beans. We got John Avino says kind of similar. Walt goes back to Albuquerque, kills everyone, breaks Jesse out, and they start cooking again.
Ooh, so full circle.
Now, this is interesting because like as I said, I think Jesse has been through a lot, and I don't know if he would cook again unless does Walt have something there where he can like be, like I saved you, you owe me this, or like does he have another kind of bargaining chip that he can use against Jesse? Or or is Jesse gonna be amicable about this? I mean, I don't see that, but yeah. Do you think that they would ever cook again? Ever?
Cook again? No. I mean, Jesse's still cooking now,
Yeah.
and it's a torture.
But yeah.
And so I can't see the two of them scrubbing in one more time to keep going. I think that ship has sailed. I think it would be interesting, if they ended it that way as some type of full circle, but I wouldn't predict that
Mhm.
at this point, given everything we've seen with how Walt and Jesse's relationship is gone. But it would be a very symmetrical. I like the kind of closure, the symmetry. I think that's a very cool way of ending it.
In a related note, you're talking about symmetry here. Now, could there be either Walter doing it to Jesse or Jesse doing it to Walter? Maybe was it hydrochloric acid, putting him in a barrel and to one of these bodies at the end, to go full circle? Do we think, I mean, one's going to kill the other? And yeah,
I really wanted in my prediction to include some type of hydrochloric acid or something. I didn't, but it could be. I think that would be really sweet because that I think is the most full circle they could really come.
yeah.
That was the first kill, and if you're gonna dispose of anybody, that would I guess be the last kill.
Well, that's actually funny. This is unplanned, Mike, that you bring that up, kind of going full circle with kills there, because this next prediction may spoil something from a Showtime show that involves a serial killer, which we will not name.
Well, we should name it in case people haven't seen the
okay.
episode.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's Dexter had their series finale the same night as Breaking Bad had their second to last episode. So if you don't want to know about Dexter, skip ahead maybe 3 or 4 minutes just to make sure you don't hear this.
If we really talk about it for that long, I'll shoot myself.
Okay. Well, this is what the prediction said. It's from Corey Healy. Now, he says, Walter is going to kill Jack and Company, fake his death, become a lumberjack, go to a corner store, buy some jujubes, and then it suddenly fades to black. Now, obviously we got the Dexter lumberjack thing in there. I'm wondering if the jujubes was a season 5 finale of Seinfeld where Elaine gets some juji fruits at the store before she goes sees someone in the hospital, and then the fade to black is a Sopranos reference. That's what I'm guessing. There's 3 different.
Maybe. I think, knowing Corey, I think jujubes may just be a random fit of brilliance. I don't know. Maybe. I guess we'll have to ask him his opinion. He was John's roommate at one point, right?
Yes, he was.
He's family to the Dual Redundancy blog or to
definitely.
the podcast.
And he worked on our
on the show
when we did ICTV.
Absolutely. So Corey is family, and
but the lumberjack thing, I kind of, Walt is in that cabin in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
he had the beard going.
Back, he probably did do a lot of lumberjacking while he was there.
So I think there's something to this, Mike. I think, how awesome would it be if these 2 dramas end the exact same way? Like last week, Vince Gilligan is watching the Dexter finale, and he's like, uh-oh, we got to do a reshoot. This isn't good. But, all right.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother podcast. We'll talk about Dexter and all the problems with that. That could be a good 4 or 5 hours just talking about the problems in one episode. But let's actually hear your prediction, Mike. Let's jump into some good stuff is probably going to happen.
Okay, so here's what I think. Hear me out, man.
All right, I'm listening.
Okay, I think we're going to start out with Walt. I think the first half hour is going to be Walt versus Nazis.
Okay.
I think we're going to have Walt arrive at the Nazi place. Wait, I don't even know if he knows where it is. All right, so this is not fully fleshed out. Let me preface by saying this. I may say things and take them back immediately and realize they're dumb when I say them out loud, but I've written them, so here's what I'm going with. Walt is going to take his car that he's got his gun in the back seat, he's got the ricin that he picked up, and he's got, I think, his big black barrel of money, because how did he get all this way without any money? I feel like he's going to have, and how did he get that gun without any money? Unless we fill that time in, I think I just assume that he went back to New Hampshire, got his money, and pieced out of there. So I think I think he's going to attack the Nazis. I
Yeah.
think he's going to have an all-out melee. I think it's going to be a half hour of just crazy,
Yeah.
insane battling. I think at some point he's going to let Jesse out, and I think Jesse is going to kill Todd. I think
Yeah,
that needs to happen. I think Jesse needs to be the one after seeing what Todd did. I think Jesse has to be the one to kill Todd.
Oh, definitely.
I think Walt is going to have the opportunity to kill Lydia. I think she's going to be there somehow figuring something out with the meth. But she's going to escape with the last of the meth back to Madrigal. So she's going to get away in her car or however she's going to get out with the last batch of the pure meth that they have, okay?
Okay.
That just finished. So when the dust clears, it's going to be Jesse and Walt as the last two left. And at that point, it turns to a standoff. And they're going to, basically turn the stuff on each other. And Walt is going to basically break down, throw down his gun, and he's going to say he's already dead. He's going to, acknowledge the whole thing that he's the unluckiest man, and he's going to say he took the ricin. He said he wants to die, but fate won't take him. But he says, no more blood on your hands, Jesse. No more blood on my hands. Let's just be done with this. Okay?
That's a good bargaining chip. I like that, yeah.
So that's my prediction. He's gonna say, just let me go say goodbye to my family. Let me just end this. But the cancer's not taking me fast enough. I have taken the ricin. And so he's gonna advise Jesse go find, they'll air their grievances about Jane and everything. And at that point, Jesse is gonna go find Brock, and he and Badger and Skinny Pete and whoever, they can set the house up, baby proof it or whatever, somehow take Brock and start caring for him as like a father. Okay. So Walt is then going to go to see his family, who he hasn't really heard from. And he's going to find that Skylar is back together with Ted Beneke.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, Skylar, no, I don't like... I like this idea, but I don't like Ted. Get Ted out of here.
Okay, so Skylar's with Ted,
okay, with
Walter and Holly, and they're all sitting down to either breakfast or Holly's, second birthday or something with, a candle. Something to, kind of call back to the whole birthday thing and basically this new family unit that's together without Walt. And, of course, Walt is going to come spoil it. Walter Jr., I think, this is going to be his biggest moment of action. I think he's going to get in his car and he's going to try to run down Walt. We've seen a lot of Walt and Walter Jr. driving.
Yeah.
So I think Walter Jr. is going to start, trying to chase him. Walt's going to have to get in his car. He literally does not want him around. And I think Walter Jr. is going to be driving so erratically, he's going to get into an accident with Marie.
Oh, wow.
With Marie, mind you. Okay? Marie somehow is going to have killed Walter. Walter Jr. will die in this accident. So, very tragic, and Marie is there. Now, my prediction a while ago with Marie and her purple is that she was going to be strangled and turn purple. I think at this point, Walt is just going to come and strangle Marie for killing his son. I mean, kind of Walter Jr.'s fault, but there's going to be a lot of struggle. She's going to be very close quarters with him, and, he's going to take her down. She was coming to the party, the birthday party, but he takes her down. Or maybe Skylar called her, as warning. So at this point, Skylar runs down the road. I don't know if Ted could run being paralyzed before or whatever. He's not important anymore. He was just there. Yeah. And there's kind of the final confrontation with Skylar. And instead of a confrontation, they both just weep over Walter Jr.'s body. And, they even, can hug each other and can just kind of vent and have this catharsis over their whole experience. And she just lets him go. And she just, she has her thing now with Holly. And, there's nothing more he can do. He's got to go. And so he leaves. And before this last act out, or maybe at the beginning of the next act out. Before that, Walt is driving home and he finds a candy or something in his pocket and eats it. So he's going to grab something out of his pocket and eat it. Next, we see Lydia at Madrigal. This is, a flash across country. And all these news reports are coming in. She has a meeting. Everyone who has taken the last batch of blue meth, all their people around the world are dying.
Oh,
all these people are dead. Okay? And something must have been poisoned within the batch. And so Madrigal is shutting down their whole meth business. The blue stuff, no one even wants to use it anymore because it's poison. Her position is terminated, and the office store is going to close basically with her life being terminated too. And so Jesse has been watching all the news. Walt finally heads home after all this, to his abandoned house, and he goes there, and Jesse is waiting there. Jesse's seen the news, and Jesse realizes that he used the ricin within the meth to as a final bargaining chip. He didn't take it himself, but I know the little vial of ricin isn't enough, so I imagine that
he made more or something.
Right, and that's what he had in his giant barrel. It wasn't money. It was ricin, and at some point when he was running around in the plant with all the Nazis, he somehow dumped it into the bucket of meth. But I mean, how would it have finished cooking at that point? I don't know. This is, as I said, off the cuff. So when Jesse arrives, he knows Walt didn't take the ricin, and he, plans on, he's got a gun. He's ready to kill him, almost like he did in Bug in that episode. And he's ready to kill him, and Walt kind of has another coughing fit like before and thinks it's the cancer, but really I guess it's going to have to be open to interpretation. But the candy, whatever he took out of his pocket and consumed, was Marie stuck it in there. And because we had seen her talking to her therapist, she had been planning poisoning something, so she in her last minute stuck something in his pocket to get back at him for killing Hank. Or it could be Skylar slipping in his pocket, but we had that foreshadowing with Marie. Poisons Walt, and so he kind of keels over and is basically choking or dying basically from that. It doesn't have to be ricin because it's a lot more fast acting. He's going to turn his head. The last thing he's going to see, the only thing left in the house, is going to be that little round eye that's just in the corner of the room staring back at him as he takes his last gaze. And so he dies, and Jesse, I guess we can add Jesse, we have this little ending montage where Jesse puts him in, almost like over a sad song where he does the funeral rites, puts him in a vat of acid, we can add, and then, closes it, dumps him somewhere, and then Jesse walks off screen, and his last word is, bitch. Cut to black. End of Breaking Bad. What do you think?
Wow, I mean, it's a lot to take in, just like any episode of Breaking Bad would be. There was some things I definitely loved in there that, I mean, we've talked about it a lot on the podcast, this whole purple thing, and I've known you told me that the theory about the strangling. I feel like, something has to be with the purple, and I would love something with that. And then also this poison thing, because, again, they bring it up in the beginning of the season, the foreshadowing. Like, I feel like something has to come of that, and, like, I hope,
Right, exactly.
Because for the most part, like, Marie is, she's not really a main character. We're not really important to the story, so like to have something like this, like as you were saying again with Walt Jr., to have them have like two like crazy just awesome moments like that would really, I think, validate their characters from being around here for so long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why, I was trying to tie in so many different things that we've seen, like the eye, like Ted, just a lot of hanging threads. And I didn't include any Gretchen and Elliot. I think they're maybe just a catalyst and not actually, maybe he's not going to try and kill them. But I think, I keep coming back to that whole Marie thing and her purple, and just something has to happen with her. Something has to happen with Flynn. And I think the episode could feature, no Skylar, but this was just my random prediction of stuff that could happen. I like the idea of Lydia with the meth, somehow that being Walt's final stand of and he doesn't kill Lydia, but he knows that her going back and selling the meth will somehow end the sale of, it's going to kill a lot of people, but it's going to kill drug dealers, and then it's going to end the sale of, it's going to be him that stops it once and for all.
Yeah, definitely. No one's going to copycat him anymore. Like, his formula is pure, and like you're not going to get any more of the blue stuff thinking it's him. Like, the blue sale ends now. Another thing I like about that is the him coughing at the end, and it'd be very interesting to see if we're going to get something like a Sopranos kind of thing, like an Inception, quote unquote thing where it's vague in the sense that like maybe we see him take the ricin, or like we see him take something and we can think that he took the ricin, but maybe we never find out. And this whole like open to interpretation, like we don't physically see him die on screen, but like maybe it's just a coughing fit or something that people can think, oh, he's dead, he's not dead. Because to please, I mean, at this point, to compare it real quick to Dexter, and then we'll get out of it. Dexter had a big following. It kept growing, and then the last couple seasons really lost a lot of their fans. And the ending, even if you look on their Reddit right now, it says like jokes about the finale. Like your most diehard fans are picking on your finale, and I think Vince is again walking a fine line where there's people out there that want Walt dead, but then there's other people that are like, I want Walt to make it. He's just like in a weird way, even though he's done this terrible stuff, they're still rooting for him. So it'd be an interesting way to keep it kind of ambiguous, so like both people get their endings, but then that will anger other people. In the end, though, I think unless we do find Walter White as a lumberjack, I think whatever Vince has in store, I'm going to accept it because, as you said, 61 episodes of this show has been perfect. Like, It's been really good. I saw something on Entertainment Weekly where it was like, the 61 episodes, like they tried ranking them in order, and they're like, let me just start off, clarify, every episode of this show is good. So
yeah.
It's even though I completely disagree with their first choice, but that's besides the point.
What did they pick as number one?
It was from this season. It was Rabid Dog as their lowest episode of the series.
Wow.
So after I saw that, like I'm like, that was a pretty good episode. Like maybe not the best of this season, but
better than some season 1 stuff.
So like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm out. I'm not reading this 61-page article.
I know, right? They just want 61-page views.
Yeah. So I disregarded that, but yeah, as I was saying, 61 episodes have been solid. So whatever Vince has in store, I'm along for the ride, and the keys are in his hands. Let's do this. 75 minutes next week. Set those DVRs accordingly.
Yeah, and the episode is called Felina. One thing, quick. My stepbrother tweeted something. I just started getting him into Breaking Bad, and it wasn't a spoiler or anything for him, which I'm glad. It was from like ya boy Bill Nye or some random joke Twitter account. But it said, why is the title Felina? What does that mean? It's not a Spanish word. It sounds like felon. It's an anagram for finale. But if you take the FE, the LI, and the NA as elements instead of individual letters, that comes out to iron, lithium, and sodium, which people have corresponded to blood, meth, and tears.
Yeah, I think I saw that. And I wouldn't put it past them because as we know with Breaking Bad, their titles are important, for various reasons. IFT, the Rabid Dog, like there's reasons behind the title.
737 down over ABQ.
Yeah. So I think there definitely could be something to it, especially if we'll ever see, on the Dish Network or whatever you watch, like how it's actually written out on the episode description. If we see a FE, maybe capital L, lowercase I, capital N, A, like that would really, sell that theory.
Would give it away.
But yeah, that might be too on the nose. So I don't know though. I am excited for this next week. This is now. We'll go into our thank yous now, and I'm going to thank the Emmy voters for finally recognizing this show as the outstanding drama that it is last weekend. Congrats, Breaking Bad. Now,
congrats.
And that was probably the only thing I liked about the whole ceremony, not even counting the awards. I just thought the ceremony was
that was pretty dumb.
Terrible, but between the hosts. But yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. We can go on about that, all the problems this year with the ceremony. But yeah, we're also going to thank John Berwick for always editing this nonsense into a coherent one-track thing that we can produce to you guys and bring it out.
Thank you, John.
Yep, thanks, John, as always. Thank you to everyone who sent in your predictions. I hope you tune back next week and to see if any of these predictions came true. And then you could be like, I told you so. It's on a podcast of these two weirdos, and they have it in stone before the finale that I predicted it right.
That's right.
And also to make sure you're up to date with everything, any last-minute Breaking Bad news and theories and this and that, we got Facebook, we have Twitter at Dual Redundancy, we have the YouTube page, youtube.com/Dual Redundancy, and the blog, which I think I saw, Mike, you might post more of the theory or maybe the outline of your theory for the finale on the blog.
Yeah, I think I'll try and expand a little bit more, spend a little more time on it, and see if I want to change anything before Sunday, and just have one big, just idea, so that my final theory, just for a show that not devoted, but yeah, a show that needed so much theorizing. And it was so fun to theorize for. To just post one last theory.
We watched 61 hours of this show. I mean, probably more because we watched doubles of some, and then we spent just as much time, talking about it. So there's a lot to it. So yeah, you can check that out at dualredundancy.blogspot.com. And that is it, Mike. All right, man. I'm not going to leave this apartment. I'm not going to leave this chair until I see that episode come on Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. This is it. The end of an era. We lost The Office in May. We lost Dexter last week.
30 Rock.
We're losing Breaking Bad.
Happy endings.
All
right, this is neither time nor place for me to get
we can keep
Fringe.
Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium. We lost that. I don't think a sequel's coming to that. So
I don't think we lost that.
So maybe a moment of silence for Mr. Magorium and every character that we could possibly lose next week on Dual Redundancy. Or not Dual Redundancy.
On Dual Redundancy.
Wait,
kidding. Who's going where?
I got ahead of myself. Oh.
I ain't going down for this.
Oh, there you go. That's maybe a little spoiler for next week to get you guys a little cliffhanger. Until then, I'm David Allen.
I'm Mike Ladue.
And we are the owners of this Wonder Emporium that is Dual Redundancy. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Okay, yeah, I completely screwed up at the end. Oh well.